Hi everyone, my name is Christina Morales and I'm a licensed real estate agent in the state of California. Today I'm bringing you the next video in the closing cost series brought to you by House Cashin'. Let's get started.
If you want to sell your house very fast for cash, then House Cashin' gets the cash flowing.
Today we're going to be talking about what to expect in closing costs when selling your home to a real estate investor. Real estate investors purchase a property to either hold it in their portfolio and lease out, or they purchase a property to flip it, remodel, and resell. If an investor is flipping the property, the key consideration for that investor is to make sure that they purchase the property at a big enough discount where they'll still make a profit when they go to resell it. Why choose to sell to an investor? The number one reason is because you typically will have a quick close, which means quick cash. The reality is that even though you'll typically have that quick close and quick cash in hand, it's also typically sold below market value. Now, we've always looked at commissions in all of these three methodologies. So when you're selling directly to an investor, you're not paying real estate commissions. So a seller's saving an additional 3 to 6% depending on what you're comparing it to. So if you're comparing it to a FSBO, you're saving 3% when selling to an investor. If you're comparing it to selling with a realtor, the seller's saving 6%. So it's significant because you're not going to have agent commissions. Other closing costs, well, typically the seller's not going to have to pay for any closing costs because the investor will pay for all closing costs. Remember the other examples, we talked about out-of-pocket expenses, and those were the expenses that a seller incurred either before it hit the market or incurred before it even closed. So when selling to an investor, you're not going to have to worry about doing home repairs. You're not going to have to worry about staging or getting a big list of requests for repairs after they make an offer. They're also going to cover any costs for point of sale inspections. They're going to pay the HOA fees for any transfer fees or documentation fees that the HOA may require. And of course, they're going to cover the termite inspection and any repairs that might be needed after they get the results of that inspection. The other costs were netted from proceeds. So again, the seller would luck out here because an investor is going to pay the title service fees, they're going to pay the escrow fees, and they're probably going to pay the transfer tax. However, a seller is still going to owe their prorated share of property taxes. They're still going to owe the mortgage balance and any accrued interest that they might owe, and they're still going to owe for their prorated share of HOA dues. Now let's look at the example. We're going to use the exact same assumptions. We're assuming it's a $250 purchase price, but look at this, 0 commission, 0 escrow fees, 0 transfer tax. So now let's look at the closing cost example calculations. Here you'll see that there's no real estate agent commissions. The seller doesn't have to pay title fees. The seller doesn't have to pay escrow fees, and they don't have to pay transfer tax. They are responsible for their prorations, as we discussed, property taxes, HOA fees, interest if there is a mortgage, but they're not responsible for a buyer's warranty because typically investor is not going to request one from the seller. Now here is the total closing cost at closing. So you have that the seller is only responsible for their share of their property taxes and HOA fees, and these prorations end up being $25.94. So this is 1.3% of the purchase price. The lowest cost at closing for a seller is when you're selling to an investor. So let's review the videos that were in this series. In video 1, we talked about what to expect when selling your home with a real estate agent. 2 is what to expect when you sell as a FSBO. 3 is this one, is what to expect when selling to an investor. The next video is going to be summarizing it all up. We're going to compare the closing costs that you can expect to pay and you can expect to have in each of these methodologies. However, video 4 is going to go a step further. We're going to look at other considerations. We're going to look at what is the purchase price that you can expect to receive in each of these scenarios. What are some other pros and cons that need to be contemplated that are as important, if not more important, than what you're going to pay in closing costs? So it's a really interesting video. It's a nice quick synopsis of what we've been talking about, and I hope that you find it helpful. I will see you at the next video. Thank you so much for watching.
If If you wanna sell your house very fast for cash, then house cash in gets the cash flowing.